Good morning, fellow sadomasochists. That is the wrong YouTube channel. Good morning, guys. My name is Tyler. This is Everyday EDC. Today, we are going to be reviewing the Civivi Hooligan. Now, the Civivi Hooligan is being reviewed not so much in an interest in it, even though I was. I'm reviewing it because it reminds me of the Civivi Pintail. Now, I don't want to show you guys too much of that because the Pintail is kind of like my first big one. I'm excited about the Pintail review this year. But I wanted to review this, and then we're going to do a comparison and kind of see where they came from. See the design language and everything. So let's get into this. Let's see here. I wanted to get one more Civivi out before this, and I didn't, so shame on me. Okay. So the Civivi Hooligan. We have this dark gray Micarta. It's a gray, I forgot what they called it. I think it's like a cocoa or something. Anyways. Deep carry pocket lip that's Ampidexturous on both sides. The interesting part, and I just noticed this about Civivis, and maybe it's because the G10 models don't have that, but look. The G10 model pocket clip is actually in the scales. The Micarta is not. That's a little frustrating, and it's showing up on all their Micarta versions. Originally noticed on Cut, and then I'm like, wait a minute, Civivi has it too. So ergonomics, you can choke up, even though this is not that big. It's not big at all, so it almost feels like a half choke up spot, which if I were keeping this knife forever, I would grind that out because that just drives me nuts. The reason I brought this knife out, the Civivi Doris, look at this. I can get my whole freaking finger in there and then some. And I was in love with this knife. And they are about the same knife, right? They have a lot of the same similarities. Even the blade. The blade, this is another good one to compare it to. It's basically the Doris on Phosphor Bronze with thumb studs and a half finger choil. That's kind of what this whole thing is. And I love the Doris, so I would think I would love the Hooligan, but it falls short in a lot of ways. This finger choil, one of the areas that it falls short. The blade itself is slicey enough. It's a very good slicey. It's D2. Is this one D2? I don't remember if my Doris is D2 or 9CR. I think it's D2. So D2, perfectly fine for edge retention. Micarta, which originally makes you be like, yeah. But again, the cheaper Micarta kind of feels like compressed cardboard to me. Whatever. I like it. Don't get me wrong. It's not really complaining. It's just acknowledging that it feels cheaper than I would have expected. A little bit of chamfering, which is nice. Actually, a lot of bit of chamfering all around the edges. And cutouts for your fingers, which originally makes it look even cooler. But we'll get into that. We have a thumb ramp here with some decent chimping, and then this edge with the swedge all the way down. We got a hollow grind across most of the blade, so in theory it should be real slicey. A couple of just silver clean looking standoffs there. Yeah. And again, this is on Phosphor Bronze, which you guys can't see, and I'm not doing a good job depicting the Phosphor Bronze. See it right there? Are these liners skeletonized, you ask? Typical Civivi style. Yes, sir. You can see it really well. Oh, that's perfect right there. Without killing your guys' eyeballs. There you go. There's a good shot of the skeletonization. So again, thumb studs, Phosphor Bronze. It's kind of their MO, right? They're going to take my Doris, my beautiful, beautiful little Doris. They're going to basically keep the same exact blade. I would almost be curious if I could swap these blades out short of the flipper tab. I might be able to swap those blades. Nah, probably not. I'm sure there's something slightly different. The swedge looks much bigger on the Doris. But they took my Doris, and they basically added Phosphor Bronze instead of bearings, made the finger choil smaller. It's almost like a downgrade to the Doris, and I'll get into why after I get into some specs. So the overall length of this guy's coming in at 7 inches. The blade length's coming in at about 2 3/4, and the cutting edge is about 2 3/4 as well. Oh, that's the wrong one. Check the overall weight of this guy. So the overall weight of this guy coming in at 3.27 ounces, so it's not even a smaller knife. Like, the Dowers feels heavier. Yeah, 3.69. It's not even a smaller knife, but it's like, I don't know. It's trying to do a lot, and I think the Dowers does everything that this is trying to do better. 120 thousandths for the blade stock thickness. And that's not fair. It does a lot of things well. The behind the edge, stupid then. 15 thousandths. They keep it all the way up here. They don't keep the behind the edge the 15 thousandths. Almost, though. All the way. The scale thickness coming in at 0.45. So 450 thousandths, or almost half an inch. Half an inch is the typical mark. So not a big deal. The height in your pocket, 1.5 inches. To put that into perspective, the PM2 is coming in at 1.6, the PM3 is coming in at 1.66, and the Manix 2 is coming in at a 1.74. Let's get you guys some size comparisons. I'll throw the Dowers back out here, and then let's give you guys Civivi Sandwich real quick. You ever Civivi Brigand? I'm glad I thought of that. I didn't think of that Dowers before this review. I kept thinking that it was it looked a lot like the Elementum / Pintail and yada yada yada. Civivi Dogma. Small feldspar. This is a good comparison reference for you guys. And the Sencut Scepter. So, as you can see, it's about the same length of all three of these, and these are all three about in the same price point. Actually, the Hooligan might be the most expensive. Then again, it does kind of look like the most expensive out of all three. Here's your Spyderco Smock. And your Spyderco Para 3. Fun fact, if you guys don't watch Metal Complex, if you guys do, you guys are going to be like, you're just repeating what he said. I did not know the Para 3 wasn't the PM3 or the Paramilitary 3. It's actually just the Para 3. Learned that the other day. Pretty interesting. And then last but not least, your Rat Model 1 and your Rat Model 2. As you can see, it's even smaller than your Rat Model 2, but it's a chunkier boy. This thing's just going to be a chunky-esque knife. So what do I like about this knife? My overall thoughts. It has a really nice hollow grind. D2 for 50 bucks isn't bad at all. The Micarta is a really cool-looking color. I forgot what its name was, but it's like a mahogany or something goofy. The deep carry pocket clip is nice, but I also have a problem with that on top of the already original problem. I believe these are all T8s, which is really nice. The whole hardware setup is T8s except for the pocket clip screws. The thumb stud opening is not bad, and the action for Civivi isn't bad, but it's on Phosphor Bronze, and it just doesn't wow me. I mean, the same thing happened with the Governor. I was just kind of like, I expected this to have better action, and it does snap pretty fine. I can almost reverse flick it. A little bit of break-in time would be fine, but it falls short, and I just feel like Civivi kind of cheats with the bearings after feeling these two. So it's on Phosphor Bronze, which also makes it more of a workhorse, right? So that's kind of all the things that I generically like. Let's get into the dislikes. I'm not going to go into the major dislikes. I dislike all these equally. The forward finger choil. Frickin' do it. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't half-ass it. Don't make it look like there's one, because people will cut their shit. If you're going to do a forward finger choil, you need to frickin' do it. Make it like the Dogma, to where you can get your whole damn finger in there and we'll call it a day. Don't do this half-ass shit. Sorry for the cussing. It's actually really irritating, because somebody's going to cut themselves because they're going to not realize it. This thumb ramp is okay. It's just I feel like this finger... Actually, the thumb ramp's fine. I'm not going to complain about the thumb ramp. These finger cutouts. We always talk about how we don't like when people force our hands into a specific location, and this does that. It actually does force your hands into a specific location, but for me, the specific location that it forces my hands into, the thumb ramp, which is what I was going to mention, doesn't feel natural. If I'm holding this like it wants me to hold this thumb ramp doesn't feel natural. I actually have to choke down a little bit to get on that just right. I don't like when Civivi does their Micarta and they just slap the pocket clip on here And you can just, here, let's see if you guys can see it better. See how it's just sitting on top of the micarta? That's annoying. I mean, everybody else, or all the other G10 and stuff, they kind of put it in there. And the only reason I find it extra annoying is because they've done it already. They were doing it before. Now they're digressing just because it's micarta. It's like, no, don't digress. Love the blade. This pocket clip. I never noticed this with other Civivis, and actually my Durus has the same exact pocket clip. I've caught this pocket clip on about 15 different things, and I actually bent it out. I don't know if you guys can see in the pocket clip. I actually had to bend it back a little bit. It's hard to see, but it's catching on a lot, and I don't know if that's just sheer coincidence or if it's just I don't know, but it's catching on a lot of different things. We do have a lanyard hole. Fine, whatever. And guys, that's about it. So you have skeletonized liners, micarta, deep carry pocket clip that is Ampidexturous, T8 screws with T6 screws on the pocket clip. You have a thumb ramp with some nice chamfering all around the edges, a good hollow grind on this whole big fat blade, a toddler size finger choil in there for those of you that appreciate that. And that's about it. It's a very good looking knife. If you're looking at this knife, look at this knife. In 100% honesty, if you're going to look at the Hooligan, I don't know why you would choose the Hooligan over the Durus. I don't know that I can even recommend this knife, knowing that it's the same brand as the Durus and now the Pintail, which does a lot of things very well. Or the Elementum. I just don't know that I can recommend this because I have so many minor things that add up to something that I would never carry this. Day one of me getting it in hand, I chose not to carry it. I don't hate it. I don't want to sound like a super negative person. I don't hate this knife. It's just when you can do something very well, but you don't, and you kind of just do it average or slightly below average, you're kind of like, So for $50, $54, should you buy it? I mean, the material's great. The construction is great. The action for Phosphor Bronze at this price range, I guess, is okay. The grind is good. The aesthetics look very nice. So yeah, for $54, if this speaks to you, do it. For those of you that are looking for a functional tool and something that you're gonna, go with the Durus. The Durus, in my opinion, it does everything this knife is trying to do and then better. Or if you're going with something that you want, to look similar, the Pintail just came out. This is an S35 VN blade. Like, why not look at that? I just think that there's so many other things in Civivi's lineup that just do it better. Sorry for being negative, guys. I don't like being negative. I didn't even really want to get this. I got this so that I can compare it with the Pintail. And actually, I probably will do a comparison video between these two, even though I kind of just did. But other than that, my name is Tyler. This is Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp. Stay safe. Have a great freaking day, guys. Thank you so much for watching.